So is podcasting a worthwhile investment to make? And I'm talking about investing your time and money in starting a podcast, and also the idea of investing in someone else's podcast. And basically, to do that, I want to look at revenue, or how many, basically, listeners you need to actually make money. So I monetize my podcast with Anchor ads. And for what I've seen with using Anchor ads, they basically pay around $10 for every 1,000 listeners that one gets. So you get 1,000 listeners, you got $10. So you would get $1,000 for every 100,000 listens that your podcast gets. So if you are able to get 100,000 listeners an episode, and you produce, an episode every week, so 52 episodes in a year, then you would make $52,000 from the podcast. Now, there's obviously other ways to make money through podcasts besides ads. Like, one could start a merch store through the podcast. On Anchor, they have listener support where listeners can actually donate money to their favorite podcast to help them keep going. But with strictly just ads, 100,000 listens, $1,000, 52 episodes, $52,000. But that is obviously a lot easier said than done. Most podcasts actually get nowhere near that kind of listens. If one starts a podcast and they're able to get, around 4,000 listens an episode, they would be in the top 10% of podcasts out there because the podcast market is insanely saturated. If you can grow a podcast, then it is a very good market to be in. You can make good money from a podcast. But it's very hard to market a podcast. It's very hard to find an advertising strategy that actually works for a podcast. So it's a really hard market to be in. Thank you for listening.